2.
Wait! Stop! No! 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 No!
Good evening, everybody. And Merry Christmas. It's getting closer. Howdy, Beard.
Oh, yeah. I should have busted out my Christmas hat today. I don't know where it is. Hi. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hello to folks in the chat, and also yourself, Jacob, and Shieldwall. And yeah, there's a short first impressions of this movie. It's not an overly complicated story, but it is a good story, and I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Yep. Good evening, Shieldwall.
Hey, how's it going?
A picture of you from the Dallas and the Kennedy assassination? That's what it looks like.
Yeah. That was a really old photo. I was a lot younger then. Anyway, no, I don't know why that popped up. I think I was messing around with my avatar. I got different ones that I was doing. I was kind of seeing if I could do some Christmas stuff. But anyway, yeah, this movie was quite interesting. And it was hard for me to actually find it to watch on all the normal platforms I was on. So I had to kind of do it watch bits and pieces of it across different platforms. So it's kind of weird, but
Interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting movie. I think in today's world, like it's not very realistic, I guess. I would say, like, this dude is literally going to take his entire career, because everything that he does with her would make him totally ineligible to prosecute.
Oh yeah.
So
nothing about it is realistic. If we're honest.
But you know,
I mean, him paying the bail is
alone
one thing.
Doing that alone, right, would especially anonymously, if he ever got found out, that immediately would disqualify him from it. But then, like, hanging out with her, riding around and doing all kinds of stuff, how can you be prosecuting her case if you're doing any of that? So so that kind of really put me off the movie immediately. I was like, all right, this story's kind of silly. Like, this dude, you know, why would he do that? I thought her character was good, and the characterization. And I guess if you look at it simply as a love story, it's fine. I really didn't see it as a Christmas movie, as far as like traditional, you know, it was all about
more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard.
But it is a Christmas movie in the vein of Die Hard. It takes place at Christmas time. There's actually Christmas presents in it and stuff.
Watch your language, Beard.
So yeah, it is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard is, but it's still a Christmas movie nonetheless. But yeah, anyway,
Christmas, New Year's.
I
enjoyed I could have got away with playing this for New Year's, but it had the New Year's bit in it.
I like the people that I like the actor, you know, an actress in it, and it was good. And then her lawyer was really good. His role that he played, that was pretty awesome. So yeah, it was fun movie. Yeah, it might help if I actually
it is
comments up.
Good evening, Northern English bastard. Good to have you in the chat. Got Miss Martin, Eraserhead.
Now, I did hear that this movie may have the plot for this movie may have influenced other movies, particularly the movie While You Were Sleeping and also Pretty Woman.
Yeah,
Didn't know
I
that.
can see that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Pretty Woman, but I know what it's about.
You haven't seen it? I saw it when it first came out a long time ago, like on VHS or something, but since it's kind of a chick flick, I never saw it again.
Yeah. Ah, shoot. Can you see
Yeah,
that
this is
one?
my first time seeing this movie,
Forget to
so
share.
I'm in the same boat as Beard. Have you seen it before, Jacob?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And it is kind of a comedy too.
hmm
So it's a rom-com.
And yeah, Fred McMurray, he's good in everything that he's in. I've seen him in a lot of
He
stuff.
did the original Flubber movie.
Yeah. Yep. The Flubber movie. Yeah.
Oh, the Nutty Professor?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I love this part. It's like, oh, it's nice. He's like,
Uh-oh.
where'd she go? Yeah, I don't even know
It's
what
panic.
that is.
She's not a very smart criminal.
No.
In that, you know, well, this is in New York City, so and it's an upper scale place. So back then they wouldn't have expected somebody that looked like her to just walk off with it.
Right.
But she does. But then she just takes it to a pawn shop like down the street. It's like you need to, leave the city with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, depending on how much money you can get for it.
Just locks her in the store.
Yeah.
Now they have things that you just push a button and everything shuts.
He figures out right away that it's stolen. Yeah.
Yeah. With jewelry stores, they don't even have to push a button. A lot of those places will push a button to let you in one door, and then once that closes, they'll let you in another one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy's like, why not give me the job? And he's like, I'll give you a wife beating case sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this movie has some stuff in it that would definitely not be looked on as good. I'm surprised that there wasn't like a trigger warning or something in the beginning of it, honestly.
Yeah. What did you watch it on? Hey, Squeako.
Like YouTube. I didn't. So I just watched it there. But yeah, why was there one on the version you watched?
No, I if it's an old movie, I look for it on Internet Archive first.
Okay.
Because usually, if it's older, they'll have it on there.
Because if it was on
put
like
it up on there.
Hulu or something, it definitely would. Because the way that he talks to his butler, he calls him a gorilla. He calls him a gorilla at one point.
Yeah.
So, and what he means is you're kind of, not very smart, but you can't. Yeah, you know what I mean. Today, that would be taken extremely wrong.
You could call anybody that. It's not like a specific.
Yeah, but come on now. You call this guy that these days?
Yeah, right.
It'd be like calling him an orc or something.
So he's getting ready to go on Christmas holiday, and got one more case. Got to come in and deal with.
It's like, I could handle this.
Yeah, I like the lawyer, the defense attorney. It's like, especially when he gets into why she stole it.
Right.
Oh
He's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, it started to sparkle, different colors in her eyes.
She was hypnotized by it. And then he goes into this lengthy. I wish we could play it because it's so good. Just the meter of his
It
voice
really is.
and everything. An interesting thing about this lawyer is that before he was an actor, he was a lawyer in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, this guy here.
Really.
So that's yeah,
And
and
they say the opposite. He used to be an actor. Now
yeah,
he's a
right,
lawyer.
exactly. He used to be, and yeah, in the story, in the movie, he used to be an actor, and now he's a lawyer, and that's why he's able to have good oratory and really talk to the crowd, or the
Yeah, the
crowd.
way he works himself up is I almost got the feeling like he was hypnotizing himself with his own story. Like,
Right. He's like, and then so she's taken by the sparkle and she put it on her arm and then she forgot about it and walked out. But then the store was closed when she came back. So she went to so she needed to find out where like the owner of the store lived, but she didn't have enough money to go to his house, like because he was out of town or something, like up the street. So she went to pawn it to get the money to then go to his house and tell him that she forgot and she took it so that then they could go back to the pawn shop and buy it back and give it to him. And that was her big story. Eh, Yeah.
very believable.
Well, I don't know. The way he was telling it, people were starting to really kind of. It was so elaborate that it almost couldn't have been a made up, you know.
Yeah.
Could have
But
done with a little bit less crazy look in his face, though.
yeah, even the character Lee, that's her name. She was like, "What? What's this guy doing?"
And he's like, what would you do? And she's like, well, hi.
Yeah. Now, in reality, she would have had to have done this jewel heist like in July for it to be getting on trial now, you know, with a full jury
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Well, once upon a time, courts weren't as they didn't drag their feet as much as they do these days.
Slow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he gets scolded
yeah,
for
I'm
asking
gonna go-
questions of the jury, and then he launches back into it again.
And he's like, oh, I have to go to the owner of the store at his house, but I don't have enough money. So, I'll go pawn the jewelry that I just accidentally took.
Yeah, he starts the whole thing with like, there's a perfectly logical explanation for everything. And he goes into this crazy, she's schizophrenic and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the prosecuting attorneys are not worried. What's John there say? He's like, we'll get this like no, not dismissed, but postponed till after Christmas. He's like, how can you be so certain? It's like immediately after the first guy started saying anything about hypnotism, he just kind of goes, hypnotism. Yeah. Because he just wants to delay this. He doesn't want to have to sit around and finish everything because if he can get just the delay hit right now instead of having to do his job and then wait for the jury to deliberate.
So she's gonna sit in jail over the Christmas, which you kind of deserve it.
Yeah, you did steal the thing.
Well, doesn't she already have a record? Like,
Yeah.
she's been caught stealing
yeah.
before and stuff.
Yeah. Like 6 or 7 times, I think they say.
Wow, if she was in modern New York City, she could go steal about another 20 things and be good
Yeah.
before she really got in trouble.
Ah, the good old days when you could just smoke in government buildings.
Yeah.
It used to be a proper country.
And you could literally smoke everywhere unless there was a sign because it was explosive or catch on
Yeah.
fire.
So this guy's the
That-
the bailman here. He seemed kind of dirty.
Oh yeah.
So he
Fat Mike.
feels bad for postponing it because now she's going to spend time in jail, and then so he wants to post the bail, which is $5,000, which back then you could buy a house for like 12. So that's a lot of money. Now, granted, you only have to put up 10%, I think, of the full bail, but so he tells him to go bail her out, and this guy thinks it's so that he can like try to seduce her.
Ah.
Yeah.
You know, because his name is like Fatty Arbuckle or something.
It's Fat Mike.
Fat Mike, yeah.
Fat Mike. Fat Ike.
Dang. You said the bail was 5,000?
Yeah.
Assuming the movie's taking place at the same time it was filmed in 39, that's about $113,000 today. Just casually dropping that to go bail somebody out because you feel bad.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like I said, like a brand new house was like a 12,000 or 14,000.
Yeah, I mean, and even a fraction of that's no small thing.
Right.
Like, there's a lady here. A lady.
Dude, what? What?
I mean, he is the assistant district attorney. He's rocking the big bucks. He's got like a butler
Yeah,
and everything.
I like her. The actress did a real good job with her character.
They came in under 50,000. They came in $50,000 under budget and 8 days ahead of schedule. And they attribute it to she never missed a line. She never had.
Well, she's fantastic at the role.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a class act in just about anything I've seen her in.
Mm-hmm.
So she thinks that's why he bought it, paid the bail, and got her up here. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. I just didn't want you to sit in jail over Christmas.
At one point, doesn't she say, "So do you want me to leave?" And he's like, "Yeah." She kind of like gets upset. She's like, "Wait a minute, you're gonna say no to this?"
Back when women wear hats.
Yes.
And that's real fur jacket too.
Yeah. Probably. I don't know about the fur. I think that was a pretty big thing in this time period.
Yeah.
What, to have fur? Yeah, I mean, you were rich.
Yeah.
And elegant. What I'm saying is that there was no such thing as fake fur back then. Nobody cared.
No.
Like they do now.
And that jacket is probably sitting in a storage place somewhere in Hollywood that they use, they reuse and stuff. Probably wouldn't do it today because of the PETA people, but
The code is 3 of Cannoli's relatives.
Hey, Adam Gray, what's up?
Now, this was long enough ago. I'd have to imagine that coat had long been stuck in some storage crate and forgotten about until it was eaten up by bugs.
Yeah. Now, they go to a supper club, which was really big back then, which was a big, like, club. It's like a big building. And some of them would seat like they'd have these giant rooms, and one would have like a dancing room, another one would have like a theater kind of thing, and then you had the actual supper club itself, and it was really big. They would seat like 1,000 people for dinner over the
Dang.
course of the night. Yeah, if you were in a really big one, and they were pretty popular back then. I think they started kind of falling out of fashion in like the 70s.
Yeah, I think a big one that's been in other movies that we've gone over is the 21 Club, and that was a big place in New York.
They used to be like
And
the big, like in a little town, you might have a supper club, and that would be like the biggest thing in town, like social event, like a social hub. Because the music here obviously is live. They have the band behind them.
Right.
Right.
Now, as back then, the sound systems were kind of crappy. Like you had intercoms and like speakers and stuff, but the music coming out of it didn't sound good.
Yeah, the rooms actually had to be built to be better for sound to let it reach every single corner. And I just realized that we see a kind of a comparison between this social gathering with live music and dance, and later on when he goes back home to their level of social gathering with live music. So like him having come from a very different background than the life he's living currently.
Right.
And he runs into the judge at the restaurant. It's like, wait, aren't you?
What's going on here?
This dude would have been done, totally done.
Yeah.
I think.
See, all he'd have to do is follow the judge and see if he was with his wife or maybe somebody else and get some dirt on him, then he'd be fine.
Oh, he was definitely with his wife. That lady was way too old to be a mistress.
You don't know.
Yeah. You might like older women. And they find out they're like really their towns they grew up in are like really close together.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Indiana, right?
I think. Was it?
Don't recall. Let me see here.
Yeah, I think so. So they have to drive from New York to Indiana, which will go through.
Yeah, because Indiana. You're right.
Yeah, this part. It's like. See the
Yeah,
sign?
you go. So you go from New York through PA, Pennsylvania, Ohio, into Indiana.
Yeah, I don't even know if they would have lanterns on that thing
Back then?
back then.
Were those? I think I might have missed this part. They don't look electric. Are they electric?
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't be.
You can see them
It'd be
flickering.
oil.
Oh yeah. If you put carbide pellets in there, it could burn for quite a while. The WPA. So that was a organization that the government put together to provide work for people, and during the Depression, there were so many people unemployed that they used government funding to build all of these roads and national parks and stuff. So if you take a road into a national park these days, chances are it was built in the 30s by the WPA. So they were actually able to do something useful by providing those jobs. Same with Hoover Dam. They built all of that with the same labor.
Right.
So now they're like trying to figure out, because the road was closed, a different way around it. And this was supposed to point the direction he needed to go, but the wind or something moved it. So now it's up and straight up and down.
No, you know it was some kid. Some kid walking by.
Probably.
Hey, this is gonna mess with people.
So they just pick a direction. He goes off-roading.
That car apparently is pretty dang rare. I was looking at some of the trivia. Less than 1,000 of them were made.
As soon as I started going uphill like that, I'd been like, okay, this is not the way. Unless
You
it was
don't know.
paved road.
Hmm.
Unless it was paved.
Yeah, so they crash into a cow pasture. Yeah, that's a car that looks like they would hot rod it today.
That was a 37 Chrysler Royal convertible coupe. 767 made, and in good shape these days. There's more than $100,000 in value in that car.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Like
Yeah,
if you
instead
go
of
to-
it is kind of weird that instead of like turning around, they just go, I could use a nap. We're in the middle of nowhere, in the darkness. It's cold. Let's sleep.
well, don't they eat sandwiches first?
Yes.
Sandwiches actually look really good. The bread they're on looks really, really good.
Yeah, no wood shavings in that bread.
I can't remember exactly what's on it, but it's like both chicken and ham. There's some cheese and a couple other things on
I
there.
thought there were bologna sandwiches or something. Like upscale bologna.
It might be.
Yeah.
Looks like he's got a howitzer in his cow pasture.
Oh, it's a harvesting machine.
It's a yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
covered
She
up
called it
like
an
that.
elephant.
Yeah. And the cows.
Oh my god.
It's
Just
crazy. If you drive through Texas, you see a lot of cows out there in the pastures, and there's a lot of like abandoned buildings that are old, from like the 20s and 30s that they're just abandoned and sitting out there, and these cows will get all inside them and be standing on the roofs and
yeah.
all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah. They're pretty inquisitive when it comes to that kind of thing, which is why this cow's sticking its head in the window.
Boy, she just handles this real well.
I have there's a lot of people with goats in my area, the area I live in.
Are they eclectic?
They might be.
I mean, this is just like what a thing to be like. Hey, would you like some milk for breakfast? It's like, yes, I would like some like nearly 100-degree milk for breakfast. Although if you've been sleeping in a cold car all night, that might not be such a bad thing to warm up to.
He just puts his
No.
jacket on its back.
Yeah,
That is a fine specimen of a cow, though.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
well fed. Fur looks good.
there's so much here that I have to think was like there was an idea of a script and how this interaction was going to go, but then a lot of it has to have been ad-libbed as they were filming.
Yeah,
because-
the tail going
Yeah,
in his face, that's
definitely.
totally the cow doing it for real.
Well, in the fact that they like had a plan to move the cow, but
Yeah.
you can see her actually trying to push the cow and it's not
Yeah.
moving. But that was great comedy. Every time the tail, he's like, "Yeah, I just got the." And she, what was that? And he goes, "No,
Always
don't worry about
milking the cow, its tail is whipping him in the face.
it." Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
typically those cow tails are not that clean because their butt's right there. So,
Yeah.
See, I think I don't remember the exact line, but he said something about when he went to New York, Indiana lost like the #1 cow milker or something like that. Like just full on bragging, like, "Oh, I know how to milk a cow."
Now, I think this guy was the one that turned the arrow so they'd go into his property.
Well, maybe, but I mean, now he's got a broken fence that
Right,
cows
and
could have
cows
gotten out
go
all night.
everywhere. Yep.
What are you doing? Just having a little breakfast. Why? Because he's hunting people, allegedly, Roman? Yeah, but he's just basically like, get in your car. We're going to go see the judge. Her hat's ruined. She's got to be presentable, so she takes a scarf. And I like the fact that, Jacob, maybe you're right about that arrow, but I don't know. I know whoever's doing something out there, it's happening frequently enough that they're not surprised to see him and they know why he's here.
Yeah. And the wife is like, oh, that looks like a shotgun wedding.
Yeah. With an actual shotgun. It's like, I love how he runs in there to look official instead of like sitting at the breakfast table.
Yeah. You give him false names and jobs. She's what does she say? A bubble dancer?
Bubble dancer.
Like, what? Yeah.
She's like, yeah, like this. He's like, all right, whatever.
It's like a showgirl thing or something, right?
I don't know.
Was he used the name Longfellow?
Oh. It's made famous by Sally Rand in the 1930s. The dancer, often being fully naked, dances with a huge bubble shaped like a balloon. Okay. There you go.
Now we know what that is.
Oh, I missed Zombie Box reviews earlier. Sorry about that.
Yeah, like the judge gets mad and starts yelling at him, and she sets fire to the wastebasket.
She fully takes advantage of the fact that, especially for the time period, like she's such a background person, not even a character, because she's female. And they're just like, whatever, let the men talk. She's like, okay, I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown and need a smoke. And she just kind of turns and goes, you guys, lights wastebasket on fire.
Yeah, they're like, let's get out of here. Bail.
Once he started yelling at, I forget the guy's name. He's like, no, you'll break my window. You'll break my window. Also, you have neighbors across the street. Maybe don't be firing off double barrels of buckshot in town.
And then she threw water on him because of the fire.
That was pretty funny. I like the attention to detail here. The fact that the rumble seat's still open. They didn't like take time to close it. They're still just trying to get out of Pennsylvania as fast as possible.
Man, back when shapes of cars were nice. I mean, look at that. Looks like a boat almost.
Because it drives like a boat. It's got no power steering. It's got ragged pinion steering, probably.
If you're lucky, it's got a third gear.
Yeah. You probably got to turn the magneto on the control column just to start it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's 1939, so the car, it's got like differential drives and all that kind of stuff. Reliable motor.
Yep.
Drive like a floating brig.
Well, if you have a car that has power steering, it's not really set up to drive without it, so it's really tough to do. But if you have a
Yeah.
car that's designed that way, yeah, you got to put some oomph into it. It's like driving a go-kart, basically.
Yeah.
You get tired after a while, but it's a little bit more smoother than if you have a car that is hydraulically, you know what I mean, power steering powered, and the power steering goes out.
I got ran over by a go-kart one time.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
No, it
right.
doesn't.
Roman said he had a racket.
Yeah, it was a one-seater, and I was hanging on the side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's obviously been away from home for a while, as we're about to find out based on her reaction to who comes to the door.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, her mom's really mean.
Yeah. I mean, they don't really dive into it. Kind of makes you wonder if she's a product of her upbringing or if this treatment is because of who she actually is. They don't really pick a side on that.
Yeah.
Who was the actor that's
Yeah. And
dead?
the mother's like, yeah, you're no good, just like your father. It's like, oh, that's nice. So her father's dead and her mother's remarried.
Yeah, I can't remember her new husband's name. Roman's asking who's the actor that's the dad. Was that Hank?
I don't know.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
Hank was the guy with the shotgun.
Hmm. I'll look a little bit here. See if I can find something. Oh, John Beck. He's uncredited. He played Lee's stepfather. Doesn't even have a photo on IMDb, but he's been into some other things. Custer of Bighorn, The Shock, Hopalong Cassidy Returns, Phantom in the House. Yeah, he's been in several things.
Yeah, this was funny.
Oh, the cross-eyed picture.
This is his grandfather.
That comes back in another Barbara Stanwyck movie I think I saw in some of the trivia. Yeah.
Yeah, this is funny. One of his mother and says to her sister, "Are you burning those cookies down there?" And she's like, she checks them. They're not burning. She goes up and says something to her, and then smells something burning and runs back in
Yeah.
there, and they're burned.
It because she runs
Which
up.
is-
I think
which
her
is
her
pretty-
response is, "I've never burned anything, and you know it." And then immediately like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, and with those old stoves like that, with wood stoves like that, that happens. You know, they look like they're fine one minute, and then the next they're burned. So you
I believe
gotta
it.
pay attention to those. The is it the brother? Is that the brother there, right? The uncle. So
Yes. Willie.
yeah, he
Sterling Holloway.
he did the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
And a whole bunch of other characters. Cheshire Cat, Ka the Snake in Jungle Book, whole bunch of animated voices. And I knew it wasn't from the beginning, but he kind of had a look that reminded me a lot of Harpo Marx, except, of course, for the talking.
Oh yeah, kind of.
And I mean, it might have also been some of his behaviors. It kind of reminded me a little bit of that sort of like over the top comedic Marx style comedy.
Are those frogs on either side of that picture on the mantle? Up
Uh,
behind the cousin there or
oh, like
nephew?
up there in the top right corner?
Yeah, is it a frog? What is that?
That kind of looks like a bullfrog skin.
I mean, I don't think they make frogs that big. No, there's a frog in Africa that's like the biggest frog in the world. Maybe it's
Oh, you could get a bullfrog about that size in some places in the
Might be something to
U.S.
do with like football, because there's a football picture in the middle.
maybe they're the bullfrogs and they're like plushies or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Proto plushies back before, you know.
There's also a little alligator.
They live in Indiana though. There shouldn't be any alligators there.
Yeah,
Maybe he went to Florida State.
maybe. Or just likes collecting animals.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've had frog legs before. They were just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I've had them once, and it
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
tasted like mud.
Yeah, I didn't really care for them. They were deep
Which
fried.
I've heard that you can do better. Like you have to kind of treat them. I think some people said like treat them a little bit like crawfish, where you catch them and then keep them for a while and continually change the water and kind of like flush everything else out. But yeah, makes more sense with crawfish to me than it does with frogs.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember where. I think we had them in Houston. They were supposedly like shipped in fresh from Louisiana every day or something, which really isn't that far. But
Mm.
um, but they were deep fried, and so it looked like little pairs of pants basically when they came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had legs and everything and the little feet on them, and I had like one or two, and I was like, nah, I'd rather eat shrimp or lobster or something.
Hunger is the best spice. Very wise, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, if you're starving to death, then it's perfect thing to eat that and snakes.
Mhm.
That Survivor TV show, that was most of what I saw people eat. If they got a hold of any kind of meat, it was a snake.
Mhm.
So,
And she's getting a completely different sort of reception as opposed to going home, where you would think she would get this sort of reception from people who have never met her before.
right. Yeah, they're very welcoming. The home smells good. There's food cooking. He's making popcorn on the stove.
It's a lot of popcorn. Look at
Yeah.
the bowl right there.
Yeah. And that's, well, because they're going to, did anybody else do that when they were a kid or whatever?
String it.
Yeah, string
Yeah.
popcorn. We
Yeah.
did it in school. I can't believe they trusted us with needles, but
Yeah, I did it like once or twice, but see, I don't know because he pours something on it, so I'm thinking it's maybe like caramel corn or something like homemade.
yeah.
I mean, it didn't matter. You bring kids in to string popcorn, half of it's getting eaten, a quarter of it's getting thrown at other kids, and no strings of popcorn are being made.
Yeah.
Some kids are poking each other with the needles.
No, we did it, and then we hung them up around the classroom. We also made the paper chain links, and
Yeah.
and the little Thanksgiving, the turkey hand. You trace your hand.
Oh, yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
you got to do the turkey hand. Hell, I need to do a turkey hand next Thanksgiving. I should have done one this Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah, and Roman's right. The cranberry, you got the just dried cranberries. They weren't dried like a raisin, but they were a cranberry, but they didn't have a lot of juice in them or
Mhm.
anything. So they were pretty hard. They were like kind of like marbles, and you strung it through, and
Look at that tree.
alternated them.
Yeah.
That was back when they put all that toxic tinsel on there that was super flammable.
Oh yeah.
So
Especially
basically-
considering that this house says, or this house at least appears to have zero electricity still at this time,
Yeah.
which wasn't a. He's back there holding that big old bowl of popcorn. He's having the best day of his life. Anyway, yeah, to have a giant flammable tree like that with candles and oil lamps around.
Well, also it's Christmas time, so they probably had a lot of like candles and stuff. I know their stove wasn't electric for sure. It was either wood or coal.
Yeah.
My great grandmother, her side of the family lived in West Virginia, and that's the one time I actually saw like a real coal stove, and they had a coal bunker, which is basically just a room with like coal thrown in it. You had to go get a little shovel and put it in a little coal bucket, and take it to the stove and throw it in there. So it was really warm in there, though. That thing got hot real quick.
This was great because I mean, if you do the actor at the time, I'm sure you weren't surprised to see this, but he's played such a goofy, kind of simple character this entire time, and then she starts to play it, and he starts to sing, and it's like, oh, well, damn,
Yeah.
it's talented.
Yeah, a lot of people were. I mean, they had. I mean, this was the time of the cowboy movies, big time. So that you had a lot of people that knew how to ride horses and
Well, you figure an older person,
all
right?
kinds of things.
This is 39. They would have been born in the 1800s, pre-electric. Like there might have been electric lights in cities and stuff, but when they were born,
Yeah,
but it wasn't everywhere. Matter of fact, it wasn't till the early 40s that every place in America, major places, got electricity. Like
Yeah.
they had to do the Tennessee Valley electric program just to get electricity into the interior of the Appalachians and like up in there. They had to build dams.
yeah. A lot of remote areas like this is kind of suggested to be wouldn't have gotten steady electricity or any electricity until like after World War II.
Right. But by this point, most places had electricity.
Yes.
And
But I'm pretty certain that this house is portrayed as not having electricity. I don't even know if they're portrayed as having running water, because that's obviously an oil lamp back there behind her.
right.
I like the fact she pulls out her like very elegant nightgown. Was it her John's mom's like, oh no, you're gonna freeze. You need this big old thing. Pulls something out for her to sleep in.
Oh yeah, because houses that back then didn't have any central heating.
Yeah. So and she's getting her a hot water bottle too.
Yeah, because if you don't have electricity in your house, you sure will not have like radiators or anything.
Right. I mean, if you're lucky, you're sleeping somewhere close enough to the kitchen where the big stove is going to just radiate enough heat a little bit into the night. But
I want to say
that's
the
about
last
it.
time I've been in a building that actually had radiators in it was in the military. Like I slept in a building that had, the dorm rooms had radiators.
My grandparents' house on my mom's side had a radiator for a long time.
Yeah,
Eventually they had it ripped out.
The church building I grew up in had radiators.
Mm-hmm.
Still.
For any kids in the chat that don't know what a radiator is, it's like a big metal, basically like a radiator on your car, and hot water goes through it and radiates heat off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if they leak, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, the nice ones would have an oil in there because that would hold more heat and wouldn't. You could spread it out further.
Right. Like a glycerin kind of mineral oil mix or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so he tells her that, she's a crook. And she didn't believe him at first.
Yeah, he's so nonchalant about it because he hasn't really considered anything else so far. He's like, nah. I mean, maybe he's just ignoring it, but he's just kind of no. I'm just doing my job, and I got to put her in jail whenever we get back, and just kind of took pity on her.
Yeah, that, like I haven't seen a radiator in like a house, but you can still see them in like public buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
I think you can even get like a plug-in radiator.
That actually has water in it.
I think it has some kind of oil in it, so it
Okay.
doesn't get too hot or something. Yeah, I like this. They don't have presents for it, but they, take other people's presents and kind of redistribute them. So
It's a
everybody
bunch
gets
of
something.
recycled stuff. Like, so he gave his mother perfume again. I think it's his mother. She's like,
Yeah.
well, I haven't even gone through the one previous. So she gives her the one from the previous Christmas.
It's great. It's a great little bit of dialogue because it first seems like it's just for comedy. Then we, as the audience, get to see how it plays in. Because Willie says, "Oh, that's what you got, or he got you last year." She like elbows in the ribs. He's like, "They told me it was the latest, like the latest thing." He's got his yodeling hat.
Hey, this is the sweater you got me last year.
You know what? I love the next present pair of socks because let me tell you, there was some place I don't know exactly where it was in my early 30s where getting socks on Christmas became a great gift. Used to make
Oh
fun of that
yeah,
all the
it
time.
was
Now I'm just like,
terrible though.
give me
When you
some
were a kid,
socks. Oh yeah.
you're like 8, and your aunt sent you socks, and your
Yeah,
parents were always
see,
playing it up. Oh, you're really gonna need these, and it's like, no, I wanted a battleship. I wanted the. When I was a kid, there was an aircraft carrier that was like the GI Joe aircraft carrier that was
yes.
like 8 feet long or whatever.
Yeah.
You're hoping for something like that,
I
or
wanted
you had
the
that
Green Army
Whopper.
Man
Yep.
C-130. It was like 2.5 feet long.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had one of
But
those.
I got one eventually. It took a couple Christmases, I
Yeah.
think.
I
Um,
had the
but yeah, see, these days I'm like, I'll go out and I need to buy some food, or I need to go get this, or I need to replace some earbuds that are breaking because only one of these works. And I'll do that. Then I'll get home and like kick my shoes off and go, dang it, my toe's sticking out of this sock. I need to buy socks. Why didn't I buy socks? So when I just hold out for Christmas and hope somebody gets me socks, and if not,
Mhm.
I'll go shopping in January.
Well, now it's just gift cards or straight up cash, like a gift card,
Yeah.
and I mean, you can use it for so much better things. I
Yeah,
mean, it's nice to get like a personalized gift or something,
yeah,
maybe handcrafted or made. But let's be honest, you're at the age now where if you're not sitting around waiting for an Xbox for Christmas, you just go out and buy it.
right.
Um,
And I mean, speaking of handcrafted made, pretty much everything they're giving here, aside from the perfume, is handmade because they just don't have a lot. Because that's what when pulls this out, and his mom says, "Oh, it's just something I threw together from a couple scraps or whatever." Because they have a decent sized house, but obviously don't have a whole lot of excess. So she didn't throw anything away. She repurposes everything, creates
Mm-hmm.
new pretty things out of things that normally people might think aren't worth a kind of upscaling into that.
well,
Plus,
also
and
back,
just in general, it's a gift from like people that didn't know her just like a day or two ago had to throw
right.
something together and make her feel like she's part of
Well,
the
it's part of
family.
their hospitality.
Yeah,
Also, back then, people would nowadays, if you like shoes start to fall apart or you get whatever on like a jacket, you'll just throw it out. Back then, they would do whatever they could to repair it or patch it or whatever.
yeah, and she gets to the third gift, and that's when John says something like, "Oh, who's that from? Willie?" His mom elbows him in the ribs. "Oh, you forgetful," whatever she calls him, and it's labeled as from him, but it's the same perfume. So Willie gave away the thing earlier. It's great. It's a wonderful scene. It's a bit of clever writing. You get Willie just like trying to giving killer looks in the mirror over there. And if you've ever seen the movie Gone Fishing, you know what a killer look is.
Yeah.
Aww.
Oh. Yeah, nobody appreciates that kind of stuff very much anymore.
It's true.
Oh, that's nice. I wanted an Xbox, darn it.
Mm. Yeah, this is where he kind of lets slip that she knows something because she's like, "Oh, you need to go with us over to here, and because we have this thing and we need to get donation. We practically have to pick there." And she's like, I'm talking to a thief." And she like freezes for a minute and looks over at him, and she's like, never mind."
Yeah, we practically have to pick their pockets.
And they don't really, except for a couple of scene changes where they like later on, whenever they talk about New Year's, they don't really cover how long she's actually staying with them.
Yeah.
Because with the ease of travel these days, a lot of times people will travel for Christmas to be with their family, and they'll be there for like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and they're gone the next. So it's like a 2.5 day stay, basically. Yeah. This, they traveled a pretty good distance and going to stay a couple weeks.
Yeah, she.
Let us know how that goes.
The ant.
Like to goat.
Yeah, just get him a next year if they don't like your present. Just get him a pink bunny outfit.
Yes.
For next year. Yeah, the aunt taught her how to make popovers. It's like, oh, these are pretty good. He kind of dismisses that she made them. It's like, it's funny.
Well, because she's told, "Go tell him you made these." It's like, "No, you just taught me. I did." She goes, "No, go tell him." She goes in there and is like, "Hey, I'm supposed to tell you that I made these, but she did. But I was learning," and she's like kind of reaching for a little bit of a compliment while trying to be honest about something. I think that's kind of when we're seeing a little bit turn in her character here, instead of being the liar that she's been for so much of her life, trying to con people and steal from them. And when he just dismisses it, yeah, then she's like, "I could have made these as good," and just throws it down and storms out. And he has big confused face.
I don't know what this place is. This is a store.
I think it's kind of like I think it's like a local like town hall or something where everybody brought stuff to be sold off. I think it was for charity or something
it's
like
a
that.
Charity auction kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of got the feeling that it's similar to like Boxing Day, where you kind of take other stuff that you don't need anymore and you give it away, but instead of giving it specifically to people, they're trying to sell it off and raise money.
Now you just throw it in a box and wait for the Amazon driver to come take it back.
Yeah. And she just straight goes up there and swindles that one dude who's busy looking for his wife. Practically actually picks his pocket because she reaches inside his jacket and takes his money out.
Yeah,
and this is
they didn't have a dress for the New Year's.
So and this is his sister, right?
His aunt.
His aunt,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Oh, what am I? The fact that his dad and uncle are gone in the time period, they probably died in the Great War. I would assume. Oh, this is pretty funny. Yeah. It's like, what size is your waist? And she's like, oh, 24, 25, whatever it is. Obviously it's still a very incredibly tiny waist. She chuckles and goes, oh, back in my day it was 19. 19? How could anybody get that? She goes, oh, you can get there. And then she even has like an underhanded like comment about her breast size. She's like, oh, I never had enough up top back in my day either, and hands her some padding.
I'll bring it
So
back.
yeah, this right here is all stuff that's been stored away, and I think that kind of confirms what I was thinking about the time period and maybe where the men in this family have gone. Why we only see John and Willie. Wait, am I getting my? No, I don't know. I may be getting my dates mixed up here. But I was looking at some of the trivia about when this would date this stuff that's been boxed up, which I mean, even just looking at the styles compared to some of the other things that we've seen in the movie, it's obviously a much older style. Oh yeah, that would date the paper to about 1908. So this is stuff that's been stored up for a while.
Back when
Yeah.
presidents could run for a third term.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
oh, her dress actually reminds me, and I don't know. Hold on, I have to refresh my mind with this picture. Okay, maybe it's just because it's similar style, but it kind of gave me the idea, or like the vibes of the dress that the character Kaylee wears in an episode of Firefly, and everybody makes fun of it because it's like old fashioned.
Oh yeah.
And this dress is very obviously very old fashioned compared to the styles that she's normally been seen wearing.
Well, some of them are wearing, like, she's wearing a bonnet.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that
Yeah.
was out of style already
Oh
by
yeah.
1939.
I think it was just
standards.
for the
Oh, yeah.
like the New Year's Eve
for
party.
for the New Year's Eve party. Are
Yeah.
they wearing like retro clothes or something?
No. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that they keep clothes as long as possible. They don't replace something that they can keep using, so they don't have the new city styles. So I'm not saying that it's all out of style for what these folks are wearing. I'm saying it's very out of style for what Lee was wearing when she was living in New York. So it's like it's like somebody stepping back 40 or 50 years
No, but
and
if you
dressing
look,
up and being appreciative of it.
right, but if you look, the people are like dressed in coveralls and stuff. I think this is supposed to be like a theme.
Mm, I don't. I think you're giving it a lot more credit than that.
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Oh yeah, the wedding cake dress. That's right, Adam. Because I think we're supposed to see a very different world that these folks are living in, and like they will have like one or two things that are their dress up clothes, especially the ladies, and they will have them not only for their whole life, but probably have been passed down from their mom or something like that. So their quote unquote nice attire is going to be decades out of style. Um, I think this is supposed to clash up against what we saw earlier at the dinner club, and maybe the costuming was a
Yeah.
very specific choice, but I don't think it was a themed party. I think it was just like the town's getting together. The ladies are going to dress up nicer than the guys because the guys are going to get all rowdy and drink too much. But yeah, yeah,
The
exactly. A
aunt's
hoot
like,
nanny.
oh, they like each other, and the mother's like, oh, how can you tell? And the aunt's and the like what the aunt says, just because I've never been married doesn't mean I can't tell. You don't something like you don't have to be a horse to judge a horse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Be
you don't have to be a horse to like judge a horse race or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Because something happened, right? She was supposed to get married, and then like the guy died or something, or
Yeah.
I can't recall that detail.
Hey, love it.
yeah.
Almost looks like a wedding dress. So it might have been because they were
That's what it
when they were
was.
getting
That
it
was
out.
her. It was her
She had a
wedding
bunch of
dress.
letters from him, and yeah.
Yeah, that's what that dress was. It was her wedding dress that she never got to wear, so she gave it to her to wear.
Willie's out having a good time.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's the new year, and all right.
See, even the mother there has a looks to be like a fur coat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I guess it depends on the what animal you got it from. I think.
Yeah. Very puffy shoulders.
Yeah.
Very. I'm assuming that that was the only time we really see a picture of who I think might be his dad and her husband. Because she lit that
Yeah.
lamp right there
So,
with a photo on the wall. Yeah, this is when she comes in and basically says, "Like, I know what's up, and you're jeopardizing his career." This is legitimately, if it's biased information, but it's legitimately something that both of them need to consider going forward. Because he is, as you pointed
yeah.
out early on, Shieldwall, he is risking absolutely everything. Even just already to this point, he's done far too many things to be able to confidently step back into his job without any complications.
Well, I mean, it is Barbara Stanwyck, so
True,
uh,
true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't risk. Well, my career isn't exactly something you risk. It's just yard work.
yeah, yeah. I don't think there's too many conflicts of interest that arise.
No, no.
during that,
And
but
I actually hated the fact that I use the word career. It's just a job I do. But yeah, she's telling him or telling her like you need to step back and leave because this could mess up everything for him.
Well,
I
not
think
just
this is
for
the point
him.
where
I
she
mean,
even tells the
he
the
helps. He helps his mother out too. So it's not just
yes.
his livelihood.
That may be where his mother got that fur coat. Um, but it's just I think she also tells the story of oh wait no, does she tell her the story of when he stole something? Yes, because she tells it to him earlier on, and then she tells her about it and how he had to work off like so hard to pay off back what he had stolen. I don't think there's a camera angle or shot in this movie that isn't just fantastic to look at as a still frame.
Yeah.
There's something that you can't get either doing post process black and white effects or even people who don't have years of experience filming in black and white. The way it's lit, the colors that you choose for your actors, knowing how they're going to actually appear on the film, because obviously you don't see in black and white, in order to
Yeah.
just get that contrast and to make certain things pop out of the scene.
like the
Yeah,
snow
it
there.
does.
They can do stuff in black and white with the camera that make it look like snow on the ground, but it's not snow.
Yeah.
If that makes
And
sense.
I think I've mentioned it before, at the risk of summoning Copa because I start talking about camera effects. But you can use actually different color lenses that will affect obviously what color film is, but it affects the color that black and white film is exposed to as well. So you can get more contrast between like sky and clouds if you use one color. You can get better contrast or better looking skin tones on people if you use a different color. So depending on where it is, you might even be changing out these colored lenses that you think won't make a whole lot of difference because it's black and white. There's no color, but it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
tone and the shade and everything.
Yeah.
Like if you do a filter, you can do a filter on your phone or whatever, and there's different types. There's film noir, there's black and white, there's tintype, all that. So when they're driving back, they don't want to go through Pennsylvania, so they're going to cut through Canada,
Oh yeah,
which is
that's right.
that's a huge amount out of their way. So they get to the border crossing, and it's like, "What are you going to Canada for?" And he's like, "I'm a fugitive from justice." And the guy's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And they laugh it off and then pass him through. So
Oh, you jokester, eh?
yeah,
Welcome to Canada.
You jokester.
this was back when, like, literally, you could just walk across the border, like nobody
Mhm.
cared. Like you could just.
Yeah.
There were towns
Both
that
borders.
straddle the border, right? And yeah, you could just walk through and drive across. No one cared. The only time you had to go through here is if you had like a truck that had like goods in it.
I think there's still a school up north. I forget which state it's in. That the only road to get from a big chunk of its population, like it's a neighborhood to the school, actually has to cross into and then back out of Canada.
Yeah, there's a row of houses that are built on the American side, but the streets in Canada. So when
Yeah.
you get out of your driveway to drive down the street, you're in Canada. They just kind of, it's no big deal.
Yeah,
But
my dad, when he was a teenager, his mom and dad and him drove to Mexico City from Houston. So you could actually do that back then.
yeah, well, you can still do it now. It just might be a little
Yeah,
take you a while, depending on what you're doing
might
down there.
might get a little bumpy.
Yeah. So now they're going to go to. He's taking her to
Niagara.
like a surprise location. This is where he professes his love for her.
You know, I kind of like the
Just stay
fact
here.
that despite how much time has passed and the fact that he does have money and could have replaced her hat, that she's still sticking with the scarf that is his handkerchief.
I mean, he is rich, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both beautiful people, so
mhm.
yeah, I can't tell you how many times like Jacob, you stopped on a frame, and I either have the reaction of like, "Dang, her smile is amazing," or "Dang, I wish his smile would stop being so amazing and make me feel self conscious." Like, stop being a good looking people for a second.
Yeah. Need to shave her head and make him more look like a soy boy.
Yeah.
If this has to be rear projection here, because it's too well lit at night for it to be Niagara Falls for that time period. But as rear projection, like as an effect like that, it is really good.
Yeah,
Because
it
it's
is.
really easy to have a rear projection come out really grainy or be out of focus compared to how it should look at the depth of field that you're going to have with your actors in the foreground. And they made this look really, really good.
Well,
Yeah.
usually the problem with the rear projection is there's like a moving car theme and the screen's moving and stuff. This is just rear projection, but it's projected with movement. Because normally what you would do is let's say there was a mountain and there was a castle on it. Well, the mountain would be real and the castle would be painted on, and they would move them together. But this
Yeah.
is more um, like an actual real screen behind all that.
Well, that's what I mean by
Yeah.
rear projection. Is
Yeah.
it would literally be a projector on the other side with a
Mhm.
translucent screen. It's just once you start adding a whole bunch of layers in there, because you've got the background layer, which is the projection. You've got the kind of like the middle ground, that's the railing and the lights and things like that. Which that's a nice touch to have the lights there, because obviously the rear projection film is going to be lit a lot better than it normally would be in person at this time of night.
Mhm.
And it also on the foreground with the characters and everything, it gives this nice little bloom, which softens their edges, which I think works not just for the emotion of the scene, but it kind of I'm pointing with my mouse like people can see. It kind of like blends everything together a little bit better. Plus, you get this real nice silhouetting against the white water of the waterfall in the back, right here.
Yeah.
Really well shot, very well shot. You get just enough light spill on them that you can see like the top of his hat and her hair and like his shoulder and things like that.
Yeah.
So you still get that depth. Plus, it's nice touch having that tree right there, just to add a little something to make it feel like a believable real place.
Right. This was the original. What do they call it now? The way they filmed the Mandalorian.
Oh, the
I forget what they
volume.
call that. Volume. Yeah. The original.
I mean,
volume.
really, it kind of was. The volume is just the evolution of that. It's become so relied on instead of, because it's obviously relied on because it's an integral part of the shot, but all these other little things had to be factored in on how things are going to interact, whether or not you have the branch in the foreground, add more depth to it, and that sort of thing, and that sort of flow thinking, which had to happen uh, with actual film, both still and motion, because you had one shot to do that, or you had to redo it with a whole new roll of film and cost so much more money.
Yeah.
So they actually had to slow down and think about every little detail before they started the cameras. And
Right.
I think that's the main thing that got lost with the volume, is there's still a lot of potential there,
Yeah.
but everything just moves too fast.
The eye these filmmakers had, they could visualize it in their head before they did the shoot, so they
Mhm.
could know what. Okay, we got to do this and this to make it look good.
Yeah. And that's actually something, I mean, I just dabble in photography, but I try to do myself, and I recommend a lot of people do. If you don't do film photography, just have digital cameras, that's fine. But when you go out, consider like, I have 16 frames that I can take, and that's all that I'm going to take on this whatever trip, like this walk through a park or whatever. You have 16 frames and that's it. So you can't do like 8 shots and go pick the good one later on. You have to sit down and slow down and actually think about how everything's going to come out and measure the light out properly. And it makes your mind think a lot more artistically about something instead of just
Yeah.
trying to capture the image and then bring the art in later on your computer.
Yeah. At the height of me taking photographs, I was taking about 1,000 a week.
Yeah.
And that's nothing compared to some photographers, but that's a lot. That's a lot of photographs.
Yeah. I would do that when I would volunteer at a kids camp as the event photographer. So from like 8 in the morning until 10 at night, I was either taking pictures or playing drums, and I would end the week with about 1,500 photos that I would have to sort through. And most of them were just like I'd take 6 photos of the same thing because it was action, and I just needed to grab something so that they could use for marketing. But if you do have the time and you're into photography, I recommend trying to treat your digital camera or buy the smallest memory cards you can possibly find, and limit yourself onto how many photos you can take on any specific outing.
Right.
But anyway, that's enough about me ranting on photography.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah, these overhead shots of New York too are pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, I like that one building in the front there. It's kind of like a weird pyramid looking one.
Which one?
Go back just one frame after this. That one on the left. See how it's like
Yeah.
gets smaller as it goes up, but it's stepped kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was architecturally more sound until like the evolution of some certain metallurgy and construction techniques, because otherwise that was how you did it without having to collapse in on itself.
Right. Well, you have the taller
Yeah.
ones in the middle there.
Yeah, those would have been like
Yeah.
would have been more recent, newer
Right.
construction, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Modern. Yeah.
That's just usually just how it goes.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, they're worried about getting found out, and which
Yeah. I have to imagine this conversation's been going on for a few days. It's the okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
No, that's a terrible idea. Let's do this. No, I can't do that. I like the fact that they have the forethought to be like, you need to get out here. We can't be seen getting out of the car together.
yeah.
These guys are discussing whether or not they saw what he saw in the dinner club.
Yeah.
Which I guess everybody's just been out for like 2 or 3 weeks or something, because this is a conversation that would have happened otherwise. Like today would have happened like the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does kind of like draw you in, doesn't it, Jake? Forgot about the courtroom part. It's the whole reason that they meet, but it just doesn't feel like it's a court. It doesn't. It feels less like a courtroom movie than it does a Christmas movie, and it barely feels like a Christmas movie. Still more than Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes pretty like direct and hard questioning, almost too much so to kind of
Yeah.
basically he's trying to throw the case.
Well, he's definitely trying to be harsh, because as he told her in the beginning of the movie, yes, he says you have to treat women on the stand with kid gloves, because you go in too harsh, you lose the jury, they turn against you. And so
Right.
he was basically bragging about how good he was at manipulating the jury to get women sentenced to jail, and he is the guy that they go to for any woman who's on trial. And he is throwing the case because he's being aggressive towards her. He also says early on, you can't be aggressive towards or harsh towards a jury, because that's going to lose their support as well. And he is doing everything here that is wrong. And that's why there's so many people
Yeah.
are confused, because a lot of these folks, they know him in the industry as being the guy who could do this absolutely 100% of the time. And it's especially hard for her because she's on the receiving end of this. She knows what he's doing, but also to be on the end of him being so aggressive.
And then she just starts confessing, "I did it."
Yeah, she didn't even confess what her lawyer said. She's like, just full on, just like, this is what it was. Laid it all out, because she's trying to protect him and his reputation, which honestly is already
Which,
down the drain
yeah,
once
which
people
I don't
in the
see how
court
he
start to
couldn't.
talk.
I don't see how he couldn't face any consequences from this.
Right.
Even if it's just, minor.
I mean, he is a man at the time, so enough people can look the other way, and he can let him get away with it. They'll be like, "Man, we saw her. We saw that smile she gave you. I understand. Just you got to be a little bit tone it down a little bit." Because even going into this, the judge, who was kind of suspicious, was like, he wasn't really going to do anything. He was just going to see how it played out, and that's why when he walks back in here, he's just like, he doesn't know how to handle it. Yeah, and she's like, I couldn't let you throw away everything, and he's like, I'm sorry, I was doing that, and just can't stand to have this happen to you. And that's when she kind of repeats the message that sometimes when you do something wrong, you have to work really hard to make it right. That his mom told both of them. And she,
Yeah.
I think the movie ends with her asking like if he'll stand with her when she gets sentenced. Which at that point, if his career wasn't already screwed, to be seen in the court standing next to her while she gets sentenced, he's done as a prosecutor. He can go into like private defense, like legal or stuff or something. But he's done as a prosecutor.
Yeah, go into business with that other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teach him how to not sound
actor.
crazy about hypnosis.
Yeah. The end. And that's just,
that
not a
went by
big
pretty quick.
after credits. Yeah. Well, it's only an hour and a half. It's not 4 hours like most movies are
Well,
now.
And it's such a simple story at its core,
Mm-hmm.
but and it does, none of the dialogue feels filler or unnecessary. It feels natural, so it doesn't feel. It feels like there's more story than there actually is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Christmas is over in a flash in this movie, though. It's like,
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
don't
figure,
really show
it
much of it.
still
That,
factors into it. Not only because of it's not only the extended break because it's Christmas followed by New Year's, but it's being welcomed into their home for Christmas and them finding some way to give her gifts that kind of
mm-hmm.
cements her
yeah,
switching her view of other people and her being selfish and things like that. So it still does play a decent part, but yeah, it is a very small fraction of the actual film.
Well, you figure if you're driving from New York to Indiana and back again,
Mhm.
that's at least 2 days.
Yeah, it's nearly 200 miles.
yeah.
I think I saw in some of the trivia.
You mean
Which
2000?
but no, it's a lot closer than you think.
Really? From New York City to Indiana?
Look, I can drive 300 miles in Texas and still be in Texas.
Oh yeah, easily.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, 2 days drive from Houston gets me to Denver, and that's halfway to Canada.
Right.
I think it's a lot closer than you think. I may be wrong on the 200, but I remember seeing somewhere in some of the trivia.
Okay, if I go middle of Indiana to New York City, that is from El Paso till the Louisiana border. That distance.
Hmm.
I'm just using my fingers here, but
Shieldwall's got out his atlas, and he's like unfolding paper maps.
I
getting out
brought
his
a map up, but
compass.
it's hold on, I could.
All right, StreamYard, I need you to start. There you go.
Yeah, but Roman, that's on paved roads and faster cars.
Yes, I will give it that. Okay, sorry, I'm definitely off, but it's under 1,000 miles. Let's see, John Sargent's hometown of Wabash, Indiana, with a
747
population.
miles.
Yeah, it's about 750 miles from New York City. So no, I was definitely wrong, but it's definitely less than 1,000. So it would have been several days drive, especially on the way back when they have to go through Canada.
Right. Yeah, that would really extend the distance they had to go. Have you seen that the Grok thing is free now for like 25 questions a day or something?
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you have Twitter, X, whatever.
Ah,
Yeah. So I started playing with it last night. I asked it, like, can you tell a lie? Where are you located? What would you do if you could fly? Where would you go? All kinds of stuff, just to see what it would say. But yeah, that's how I got that. I just typed it in the Grok and it figured it out.
Yeah, you got it right as right. Oof, my Texas accent came out right as I found it in the trivia. Yeah, it's right there, right in front of my eyes. Let me tell y'all something.
Yeah. But yeah, but once you put in road conditions and 1939.
What was that car
tires.
again? Beard.
It's 19.
See what the top speed of that car was,
Ooh.
or the.
Oh, those cars could hit like 65, 70, no problem.
40.
That was a 37 Chrysler Royal, specifically the two-door convertible, which in that year would have had a 3.7 liter Chrysler inline six. So it would have made some power for the time, but it probably didn't have a ton of get up and go. I mean, it would have had like it just wouldn't have like a
off-road.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that came down to honestly the transmissions at the time, because it might have the power, but it just you didn't have 6 gears to put it down a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Now I don't know the speed on that. Let's see. That would have been. Oh, hold on, maybe. Hold on. 37. Where's 37? 7 liter. I might be able to tell you the horsepower at the very least. Man, they had a lot of versions of this engine.
I mean, this was
3.7.
So
the car was 1937. It would have had just over. I can't find the specific model in this list, but it would have had just over 100 horsepower total. But it also that car probably weighed a ton.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of aluminum and fiberglass.
Yeah, it would have been right about maybe 100 to 115 horsepower.
Taken some time.
Yeah, it would have taken time.
Yeah. Now they showed him stopping in the cow pasture, but they would have had to stay at some place.
I mean, maybe he just drove until he got tired and they slept at whatever cow pasture they found themselves in.
Plus, you got to look at the weather. It's wintertime, and that whole region gets snowy and stuff. So, But anyways, it is a movie, but it makes sense. If let's say you left before Christmas, right? And then you had that week of, let's say that was the Friday the 20th, or whatever. That third Friday in December was when the court thing happened. And then you had that give you that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to drive. You could drive to Indiana in that amount of time. And you do Christmas, right? You spend that time there till New Year's. Because wasn't that barn party thing a New Year's party?
Yes.
Okay. So that, so that's, let's see. Let's say they get there Christmas Eve, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's like 7, 8 days. And then they go back for court like on the 6th or something, or whatever that next Monday would be. And so kind of.
I just noticed, Beard, there's something missing in your background.
What's missing in my background?
The pistolet.
Oh yeah, I got locked up whenever I was traveling. I haven't put it back out. Instead, I've got a Christmas card that JT sent me up there right now.
Ah, okay.
And
wait, did Roman just say that 2 watches and neither?
Okay,
which
Roman,
I've worn in 5 years. I wear a watch whenever I go out.
Stand by.
Yeah. It's got one of those expandable, like old school bands. So it's not like a clip band or like a belt buckle looking thing. It's just stretchy, and it goes over your, where it's like it's all metal, but it has the stretchy links, and it just goes over.
Yeah, it has the links, but it has the stretch link.
Yeah, it's hard to find those now.
I need to get an analog watch. All I have is one of those digital watches, and
it's like a
Casio smart watch.
Oh, I don't have a smart watch.
Yeah,
it's just like an old school. Like it's got the you hold the button down for the light to come on.
All right, so can't find everything, and yes, technically this is one of the only ones that has a working battery in it right now. But I've also got this one made out of whiskey barrel wood. Got this one, kind of big, but like nice wind up one. Looks nice. This one was my granddad's, and this one is my granddad's that I wish I could make work again. But in order to do so, I'd have to send it overseas and pay about $3,000. So it just sits on a shelf. But the gold one I do wear sometimes, and a couple of these others I still wear, but I like this one. So yes, I have watches. I prefer to look at my wrist instead of my phone for the time.
Yeah, I need fumbling around with your phone and everything. I just like to be able to look down at my wrist and,
Yeah. I've been looking at pocket watches. I'd really like to have one of those. Those are cool.
I've also got one around here that only works outside when the sun is out because it's actually a sundial, and I don't know where it is. Oh, you also have to know where north is in order to find
would
the
know
time.
About that.
Yeah, that would be a Roman type watch. Yeah,
he's got one in his backyard. He has to carry it around in a wheelbarrow.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, Roman. I'll like DM you something sometimes so you can take a look at some of their other stuff. It's really nice. Yes.
Wow, so the eclectic goat proposed to her husband instead of the other way around.
Ooh. Hey,
well, I guess that's a surefire way for him to know that you like them.
Yeah.
There's no guesswork there.
I don't need time. I'm retired.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry. That was such a random comment. I had to address it from Roman, so I didn't mean to get us down the timekeeping.
I was so used
trail.
to living and dying by a time, though. I can't let go of the watch.
Oh,
it's just everything was. Your whole day was down to razor's edges of minutes to get stuff done and be places and whatever. I'm glad. Well, I miss those days a lot, but I'm also, part of me is glad that I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Oh, okay. Fair point. After 20 years, he obviously wasn't going to get to it.
Oh, you guys were dating for like 20 years? Wow.
30 years, 28 days. I imagine that's the exact time he was in the Navy.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, sorry. Enough watch talk. I should start my own stream for that.
Yeah, watch talk.
Personally, I think smartwatches make people stupider.
Ooh, shots fired.
There's so much to be said about phones and the ability to look stuff up. I mean, like I can look up the distance from Indiana to New York in a few seconds and get it. If you could have looked it up a long time ago, you just would have had to get a book and done it. or a map and, you know, rustled it around and got out a ruler and a protractor and stuff. Squeaka, I don't think I can get stupider, so I'm safe.
Don't let her lie to
mind.
you.
Yeah.
Trust me, babe. You can get stupid. Oh, wait, that's not a compliment. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, there is something to be said about coal stoves. You can make good pizza on those.
Oh yeah.
Or wood stoves anyway.
Hey, I like that.
I took a train one time that was a steam coal-powered steam train, and we were on this flatbed, like looking at everything, but the smoke was coming backwards, because the train's going forward. And when I went home that night and stayed in the hotel or whatever, when I showered, I had like grit from the coal dust.
Oh man.
Hair. Yeah, I had to wash my hair twice to get rid of it. It is interesting to do that. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, yeah, this movie is good. Recommend it. They don't make them like they used to. Stories are
they don't.
simple.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, and it's like you said, kind of like everything at the beginning. It's kind of a stretch because he already is so in over his head as far as messing up his career.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really just kind of more the MacGuffin to set the love story in motion.
Right.
If you kind of rely on that to be any kind of reliable, it just everything kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I really like it. Like I was saying earlier, absolutely beautifully shot. Every single shot.
Mm-hmm.
Great characters. Not too long. Simple story, but it doesn't feel like any of the dialogue is unnecessary. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
The guy that wrote it, he did not direct it, and the director cut a bunch of stuff out of the script prior to and during filming. So he was so mad about that he learned how to direct, and he never let anybody else direct his scripts ever again. He directed his own after that.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see that original script. Might have made a little more sense.
Yeah. Well, nowadays they'd be, release the Snyder cut version of it with 10 different extended versions.
Slow motion.
Yeah.
Have him milk the cow in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. No, it's playing in my mind movie theater.
So,
alrighty. So, what? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm trying to remember what we got coming up next.
Home Alone.
Yes, 1990.
24th, right? Day before
Yep.
Christmas.
Christmas Eve.
Are y'all going to be able to make that?
I don't know. Maybe.
I should be able to do that one.
I mean, if that needs to be if it interferes, we don't have to plan this in front of everybody. Never mind. We can talk about it later. Nobody needs to hear our planning sessions.
What do you got?
I'm looking forward to that one. That's a
got
classic.
You want
to? Let's see. My 7 Days to Die stream, which is usually on Thursdays, happened yesterday. There was no after the weekend, and we had some extra time to do that. And seeing it's December and things are going on, some of the scheduling for all of us is going to be a little bit all over the place. So that got done on Monday. So go check that out on my channel. I'll be doing gaming again on my channel tomorrow with some Dishonored, and then on Friday with Dragon Age Origins. Thursday with Roman and Empire for the Christmas show. Looking forward to that. I'll try to remember to get my sparkly Santa hat for that one. Maybe my just wonderfully terrible Christmas vest again. I found a Christmas game that I might play here and there. It won't necessarily be scheduled. It'll be when I have time. It's actually Batman Arkham Origins, which takes place all around Christmas. So that would be a first play for me. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting into that. Got to find a time to do it because I want to play it.
Are you sure that's a Christmas game?
It specifically happens on Christmas Eve and revolves around crimes related to Christmas. I looked into it because I knew if I went into this and said it's a Christmas game, that people would come after me after my Die Hard comments.
Yes.
Roman, don't
But
tempt
Die Hard
me.
too. Die Hard does.
There's a Walmart down the road. I can find some sparkly tape.
Yes, sparkly thermal tape.
But yeah, that's about it. I mean, in short,
Multi-pass. Sorry.
League Tree / Spirit of Liberty. If we ever want to know where I'm going to be, that's the hub.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be on
Alright.
Roman's show as well on Thursday,
sure.
and be here next week for the Home Alone show.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have going on. I was on MMM on Monday for finishing up the Lord of the Rings Return of the King movie review. That was a lot of fun. That I want to say, was it today or yesterday was the anniversary?
I think it was today.
Yeah, of that movie coming out.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. Yep. That was every year for 3 years, starting with the first one, you always had something to look forward to for a good movie to come out. That's back when we were spoiled for movies. There were just bangers coming out one after the other, 2 and 3 a year. Now you're struggling to look for anything that's even halfway decent.
Yep. Look for the old ones. There's a lot of them. We've just brushed the surface of old movies on my channel. That's how many good ones there are. So got plenty of content going forward.
Yeah, I was looking at a couple different ones. Yeah.
I will also be on Roman's show next week for Home Alone. I'm still looking for a New Year's movie, but just can't find the right one. So I'm kind of changing the last stream of the year to something else. So
okay,
yeah, but yeah, good movie. Thanks for hanging, guys. Thanks to the chat.
Yep.
Hope everybody has a good week and Merry Christmas. We'll see y'all
and a
later.
Happy New Year.
Yes. Bye, y'all.
Bye.